Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is a part of the meeting that if you're not on the agenda and you have something you want to bring up, we'll be happy to listen to you, but we just can't act on it. We'll act on it at a future date. So is there anybody that's not on the agenda that has something they want to talk about? All right. Forever hold the peace. Sheriff.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Thank you.
Sorry, we play phone tag.
Yes, well, I'm sorry about that. I was over there at Hills, man, can't get nothing. Couple of things. One of them is I want to bring up to snuff on our medical contract. We just signed one in February, I think it was January, February, with Advanced Medical.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So they are in breach of contract, and let Zach know this too. They are supposed to be providing a nurse for us, part-time nurse, 12 hours a week. They're not been doing that. They have parted ways with their doctor. They're in kind of turmoil, I guess what you'd say, is for lack of better words. So I called Jennifer today, asked her to open up bids on taking bids for a new healthcare contract.
Do you have a copy of the contract?
Yes, I do. I got it with me actually.
Is there a 30-day out?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, Brian. We just signed it on February 27th, so they got some, they're trying to change, they said the way they do business, they're getting rid of, supposedly they're all their LPNs, going to all RNs. Well, we got LPNs is what we use inside of our jail. Of course, we have a doc, because we have a doctor. So that they're trying to change all that, it's completely against what we really had with our contract, you know what I'm saying, it's the terms and conditions we have in our contract. So we'll, as soon as I get the official word, if you guys don't care, go ahead and we'll take some bids, and then I can sit down and get in specifics, Zach, if you need me to, buddy, you know, about how I feel like they're in breach. And to be honest with you, rumor, I don't know, but supposedly maybe they're trying to get out of Indiana. I guess they've dropped a couple of jails maybe around, and they're trying to change the way they're doing business even maybe, so, but that's just a rumor.
They was having an LPN come in.
Yeah, we
And
had.
now they take that away from you and are trying to send an RN when they come.
Well, that's the thing about it. We had Denise, she's an LPN, that's our nurse that's been there for years.
But
So-
she works for them.
Yeah, she works for
Okay,
Dennis,
that's
yes.
what I'm trying to, okay.
Yeah. So we had her, she was in there her regular full time, and then we had another, there's 12 to 15 hours, it's even actually on top of that schedule, I think there's the hours, that we had part-time with them, a part-time nurse come in to cover when Denise couldn't be there, okay? So, they told all their employees they'd gotten rid of the other girl that was our part-time employee, because she was an LPN, so they was going to all RNs, and then they were getting rid of Denise because I guess the stipulation was you had to say you was going back to school to get your RN license. If you didn't, they was going to get rid of you. And this is just one from there. So that's changed the way they do business completely with us, because that's what we use as the LPNs. And then we have a doctor, and they've not replaced the doctor. We've not been able to. The doctor they gave us to replace him with, when we call, the doctor told us, I don't answer the phone, you leave a message, I'll call you back. Well, that don't work in a jail setting. We're not talking about bad people at the Scott County Hospital or somewhere, you know.
So Advanced Medical, is that the service that we've had for years?
Yeah, it's the same way. That's what I say. It kind of blew my mind because they've done such a great job over the years. I mean, they have really been excellent, and I've always bragged on them.
Usually haven't had much out of them.
Yeah, so,
Has anybody been in touch with a representative from them?
yes,
that-
I did.
That we were, like, unhappy
Yes.
with the current state? Was that done like in an email?
It was done on voicemail. I don't have copy of it, obviously, but what I can do is, if you want to, I can write them an email to because I contacted the CEO, the main person, and say, listen, Sheriff, I'm not happy with what's going on here. We're hearing rumors. Things are being not done right, blah, blah, blah. So the CEO didn't call me back. It was somebody else that called me back, and from that tone that they used, you know what I'm saying, with me, they just didn't come out and say, oh, we don't care. It was kind of like, we don't care, you know.
Loving you off.
Yeah, exactly.
And this was 12 hours,
Well-
how long, a week or a month?
I'm sorry,
You said
we just
they're
signed it
supposed to be in
February, oh, I'm sorry,
12 hours a week or a month.
it's at the top.
It's
Zach.
12.
February 7th. Oh,
What's that note say, written note at the top?
They'll be in coming in.
Top, very top, yeah, handwritten,
handwritten. Oh, 12 hours?
12 hours a week.
A week.
Yeah. And they've not been fulfilling that, and then they said they was gonna have all RNs. Well, the person they was replacing the people with that we had was LPNs. So I'm just not real happy with them, and it's,
Sounds to me like they're wanting out of the contract.
I think just to avoid like a lapse in service or a catastrophic situation, I think you could go ahead and start the process for reviewing bids. But I'd like to, this looks like a extension of probably a more in-depth contract, and I'd just like to look at the notice issues that we might have in terms of cancellation or something.
that's fine.
Okay.
Let me know what you want me to do. I'll stand down and just.
No,
tell me.
I'm not, you go ahead and do what you need to do.
We need to go ahead and advertise for.
Yeah,
you can.
continuing.
Yeah, you just, I
But
would,
as far as stopping that
yeah,
contract
but
until he
in the
understands.
meantime, while you're taking those steps, if you would just, get me a full, I mean, I assume that we had,
We've got contract, we've got the full contract, and that's the reason why I say it's surprising, because we'd had advance for years before I even came here.
yeah,
So we was just happy with their service, and all of a sudden they just.
and then, once I look at that, I'll just get in touch with you about what your perception is about what's going on, what the deficiencies are, and what
I'll send you a
our
list.
options would be, and hopefully
Yeah, I'll send you a list.
simultaneously, you guys are doing what you need to do for looking for an alternative if necessary.
Is there other players out there?
Yeah, there's several. They call us almost literally weekly trying to, advertise, and so we should have the options when we put it out, we should have the options. Shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Second thing is I just spoke to Jeremy when I came in. I left a meeting today, in the state of Indiana. It was an ISA meeting, Sheriff Association meeting, and the state of Indiana is, I don't know if it's their own CAD system, computer dispatch system, or their own jail record system, but they're in contract with a company called In-Jail CAD System. And what they was telling me today is that this CAD system is free for all the Indiana people that want to get on. They're trying to build a interoperable CAD system between the judicial offices, the law enforcement offices, and that type of thing. So I told Jeremy, so if you guys want to look into that, maybe something,
CAD as in CAD.
computer aided dispatch, yeah, computer aided dispatch, I'm sorry, I use police lingo, sorry.
One back up just a second. Jennifer, do you have the advertisement for the?
I'm
for the-
sure
for
I've got the same
medical?
one we sent before.
Yeah,
I'm certain
Just
that I
wanna
have
make
that,
sure
so I
that
could
we're
just,
apples to apples and
Yeah.
advertise that, so, okay.
and if I'm kind of going on a limb, but I think that advertisement was pretty basic. It was just that it had to provide
Well,
state,
most of them know what they're doing.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking, inmate care, so I mean, it was not real specific, I don't think, is what we advertised.
What we'll do is this, if you can find that,
I've got it. and I
let me
can
know if
send
there's
it to you.
anything, if you, yeah,
I'll
just
send
let
it
me
to
see
you
if
and you
there's
can look
anything.
at it, and if you think something needs to be changed, but
Yeah, I
as I
just
say, we
wanted-
can send out basically the
Sorry,
same thing we had
I
before.
just wanted to make sure you did,
Yeah,
get it advertised correctly so that we can move on. So, sorry about that.
No, and I don't want to bring that to your attention, that way you can look into if it's something that, I don't know if it is or not. But I figured Jeremy, know off right off the top, so.
So Jeremy's working on that.
I just now talked to him about it.
Yeah, take a look at it, I'm actually on the website now.
Okay, cool, okay.
See how you got in or out, this is-
All righty, last thing, make it quickly here. At the sheriff's office, I'm trying to take politics out of law enforcement, to be honest with you, okay? Within our agency, I don't practice political crap, because it doesn't do the citizens any good. So what I'm asking is this, I wanna propose to you guys, as the executive body, and Zach, I think, can back me up, also you tell me if I'm wrong or not as we go through, okay? The executive body can create a bargaining environment for the sheriff's office okay, collective bargaining environment, basically what it would be is this. You guys would come up with a ordinance that says that in the matters of salary, benefits, you know what I'm saying, discipline, whatever, that those,
I don't think that we can address this.
because of the merit board, yeah, okay. So just the salaries, benefits, those things that would affect the working environment of the deputy, okay? They would be contract negotiations, not budget stuff, but contract negotiations to a collective bargaining agency, which most likely would be the FOP for us. And then you guys would have your collective bargaining agent, would it be Zach or whoever you would want?
It would just be the board.
Just the board, okay. So, and what would happen is this, like, for example, last time I come back and say, hey, this, we needed a pay raise. Okay. So I say, this is what we want. You come in and say, we can't give you that, Jerry, this is what we got. Well, that's not, you know, it's just the negotiations, is all this, contract negotiations. We're just asking a contract. What that does is it takes the political nature out of it for me. It takes the political nature out of it for you folks, so nobody can blame you folks for being political. And it's handled by a arbitrator. So the arbitrator would come in if we get in an impasse to where that we couldn't come together on an agreement. The arbitrator would come in with a binding arbitration and say, this is what it's gonna be, and this is what you have to go by. Whether that would be beneficial for you guys, or whether it be beneficial for us or everybody as a whole. And it's the short-term audit, I keep talking police lingo, but short-term audit's contract, a contract for our officers.
It would, yeah, I think what he's describing is the, unionization of public employees is limited to certain circumstances where the governing body of the subdivision allows it. So he's asking for the authority, first off, to allow, which I think that it would still be incumbent upon membership to vote on whether or not to agree that collective bargaining would be a benefit and that unionization would be something they do. The union, and there are many municipalities that operate this way, some do not, but some do. If you allowed it and they voted and by the rules established a union, I don't know whether the arbitration piece is exactly correct about how it works, but there is a method by which you contract for, after that initial agreement, basically conflict resolution if there are issues in negotiations of future contracts. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and then from what I'm being told, and most of it's come from FOP obviously, because that's our,
Yeah.
most of what I'm being told is that in that contract that you guys decide to do that or that what you allow us to do, you can create an ordinance that specifically states the items that will be negotiated in the contract.
It's usually.
Wages, obviously.
It's usually most elements related to conditions of employment, salary, benefits. It usually does not include specifically in police and fire discipline, because those are usually handled by, in municipalities, civilian merit commissions, and in the sheriff's office by the sheriff's merit board, or board of public works, public safety, in certain, I think it's like second or third class cities. But there usually is a provision in there that deals with grievance procedures for issues that are not discipline related, but related to work. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, I've heard all you guys have even said it, even in public meeting, that, hey, I wish I could help you, but our hands are tied. You can only do so much as, you know, commissioners to be able to help the
Yeah, I
guys
mean,
on
we
the road.
don't, that's what I don't understand about what you're asking, because you're doing the hiring.
No.
Well,
It's
I
for,
mean-
yeah, it's for wages only.
Yeah, but I mean, and I'm sorry, the sheriff's department, you're in charge of hiring and discipline and all that stuff. And we as commissioners, we don't set your salaries, and we cannot set your salaries without bypassing the council. Well, we can't bypass the council.
You can. That's the binding arbitration part, because you can create an ordinance you can create an ordinance, the county commissioners can create an ordinance that says that the sheriff's office employees, compensation or other work, whatever conditions you wanted to put in there, okay, will be controlled by a arbitration, collective bargaining between the officers of the sheriff's office or, you know what I'm saying, and you guys. And then it's that
We
bargain,
would continue to not be in control of hiring, firing, discipline, all of those things. That would still be merit commission based. But there is a process for, again, if approved by a sufficient percentage of the membership, they would essentially be a recognized bargaining unit, to contract with the county. And in this circumstance, we could not budget for the amounts, like we still would not control the budget process, but we can contract for essentially what the sheriff is talking about.
Well, my take on it is that, cause a few years ago, there was some, EMS personnel that tried to,
That's
I
correct.
won't say tried, they talked about unionizing, EMS. I reached out to the state of Indiana, in Indianapolis, and they said, well, good luck, but the only way they can do that is with the approval of the commissioners, so,
That's correct.
so.
that's why I say it would be a contract.
So I guess the question I have, are you talking about just the deputies, or are you talking about
Jail.
deputies and jailers?
Yeah, deputies and
So
jailers.
everybody on that side of the street over there would be under this collective bargaining.
Have you talked with the FOP about the effect? I mean, that almost seems like two different bargaining units.
Well, here's the thing about it is this, the FOP, they won't represent our jailers, but that, we've got representation for the jailers, so we have representation. It
That's
would be
almost-
two different units.
Yeah, that's almost too, just in my understanding, that would need to be two separate.
And I agree with that, yeah, absolutely, yeah, totally. Here's the issue for us is this is not gonna affect me, I got 2 years left, okay? This is for future, this is for the future employees of Scott County, this is for future sheriffs, you know what I'm saying? And what it does is it takes the politicalization out of what somebody makes. It takes, all that's gone. And what we've got now is we've got an issue where it's getting ready to start this year, unfortunately. I'm getting ready to obviously go into negotiations with the council. But we've got people now that's gonna be on the same, like a new guy's gonna come on and he's gonna start making the same amount of money as the guy that's been there, you know what I'm saying, 20 years. We got away from that when we got our matrix, but see, when they done away with the matrix and the council relinquished, got done it puts everybody back, you know what I'm saying, together.
Yeah, I don't like that whatsoever, cause I think that as new employees come in, they have to start at a base salary and work their way to the other part. The other part of that is the person that's been here forever sees a guy that's coming in off the street making the same that he's worked 15, 20 years to get to that point.
We're on the
So,
same page, yeah.
But the other part of this is I'm gonna be honest, as the day is long, I don't know that I could ever be for, forming a union or allowing a union to be, you know, because I've been on the flip side of that. As a manager in a billion-dollar company that, you know, it's good for some, and it's, in some situations, it's not that great, so,
And let me ask you, let me make something here on that, is this, and this is gonna be different than private industry, because see, with our agency, I'm gonna be in charge, nothing changes, the only thing that's gonna affect is compensation. So, like with the private industry, it'd be like their trouble, how many days they can miss on it, that's, nothing of that'd be affected, period. It would just be for compensation stuff only, is what it would be.
I would need to review the specifics, but I also think that there are a little bit different, even if you were to approve it, different rights that unions in public employment have versus private, so like the right to strike and other things. They run a public safety service, right? Like, there's certain things,
It's against the law for us to strike
I will-
or anything like that.
like,
Yeah, I
review
get, I
those
understand
things.
that, I mean,
You remember years ago, even state workers, we had a union, but we didn't have that clause, we couldn't strike, so that bargaining piece is out. I guess
Well,
when
we're just doing it for salaries, I don't like I said, because here's what it does to me, okay? If we have our negotiation, we're gonna fight, carry on, you know what I'm saying, on pay and all this kind of stuff, okay? So we can't come to an agreement. So the arbitrator comes in, they're looking at both sides of the situation and saying, this is what it needs to be. This is through my investigation, through my study, blah, 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 this is what it needs to be. If it's not what I want, then I say, okay, I get that, that's what it is. If it's not what you want, so it makes sense, it's a fair process, whereas now, it's not fair. It's really not a fair process. And case in point is just what happened to us. You know, we got a matrix system, a longevity scale stripped, and now we got people that's gonna be coming in, it's gonna be all jacked up, because we got people here, there, all over the page, you know what I'm saying, about what they're making. So it would essentially, it's gonna be a regulated, fair process that the ending comes to an end on okay, we know what's best for everybody, because the arbitrator will give what's best for everybody, and that's what we gotta go with.
let me ask you, Jerry, is there, examples of counties
Oh, yeah.
that have this implemented that are our size? I know that there's unions right now for municipalities and, you know, police and that kind of thing, but most of those counties that I'm aware of, probably 3 or 4 times our size. Is there anything out there that's around that 25,000 and under, that we can reference?
Yeah, I will find that. I know, that, Tell City, the Spencer, is that Spencer County?
Tell City is, I don't think that's Spencer County, it's,
No, that's
it's down by.
Perry County,
Perry County.
yeah. There's one of those, counties down there that's, I think they're in a collective bargaining unit, and I can find out from them, because they would be those sizes, be the closest thing. The other ones, they're all over the state, you know what I'm saying, that have these. It's not unique, you know, I mean, to just us. There's several sheriff's offices and many police agencies, you see them have. All of New Albany, Jerseyville, all of those folks have got contracts for the police contracts for that. City, yeah, city. And
county.
yeah, the county is, I just know Porter, Lake, Marion, or maybe not Marion, Porter, Lake, Elkhart, you know what I'm saying? There's several of them, you know, that do.
Monroe, Vandenberg,
And yeah,
and
Vandenberg is
all of
one.
these that's why I would like to see something more closely, more unique to what we have, you know,
Yeah.
for our population to reference.
And I will get that for you, I'll have that for you. And the reason why that I'm bringing this is because I'm giving up, obviously, you see what I'm saying, some authority on things that I have to. I'm giving you your take, quid pro quo, you know what I'm saying, is what you would say. I'm giving up stuff, you guys are giving up stuff, and it's gonna be decided by an arbitrator, what's best for the county as a whole, not what's best for us, what's best for you guys, but for the county as a whole.
Well, let me say something real quick. First off, I don't think that this is, you started off with, you know, this is political.
It is.
I gotta be honest with you, I don't think it is political, Jerry, and
I'm
let me
not
tell you
arguing.
why I
No,
think
no,
that.
okay,
Let me-
you're good, you're good.
As far as us, we've tried to give you everything you have.
No, I'm not, no.
No,
Yeah.
I know, let me,
Okay.
this is gonna go,
Okay.
going around the tree here for a second. And we're all 3 Republicans, and we have fought this council more than you, honestly, about everything. So you can't say it's political, because we're all Republicans and they're fighting us too. What I think it is, what I think we can call it, is a power struggle, more than political. I think that our council has had a trouble with letting the power go to their head to the point where they do things that no other council has ever done. So look, I'm not comfortable with calling it political.
Well,
But-
and when I say political, it's in-house political too. Republicans against Republicans, Democrats against Democrats. It's not just Republican versus Democrat, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
Cause that's where your
I think
issue-
it's mostly a power struggle with the council, honestly. And I've wrapped my head a little bit around because we can, as commissioners, enter into contracts that bypasses the council. Again, I don't like our council any more than you do. I really don't.
I'm not just like
But-
the council now, come on, man, don't say that.
I'm just being honest. But for me, it seems like if we enter into this contract, regardless if I like the council or not, they was elected by the people of Scott County to do the job for the council. Now, probably, would the people of Scott County elect them again if they know what's going on? Probably not. That would be my guess. But if we bypass them and do this, then it's a power play for us over the council. And then we're taking the choices from the citizens who vote
Well,
out. We're kind of taking
I
their
get
job
that.
out of their hands.
But-
And that is what people vote for the council for.
yeah, but here's what makes this different. Because it's part of your bargaining unit, your guys' bargaining unit can have the county council on that bargaining unit. So it's not just you guys can be you three plus 3 or 4 council members, all the council members, all 10 of you. So it's not taking any authority away from them because they will have a seat at the table. It's not like we're just ignoring them. They're there negotiating also.
But we're not putting 7 people on there, and that's what
You can,
that's all checks and balances.
You can.
The way the
You can.
electoral system works.
you can do that. You can put as many people as you want to on it. There's no.
But just to piggyback off something Randy brought up is that,
I think you guys, I mean, honestly, I think you guys deserve more pay. That ain't what
No, I get, yeah.
that's
I know.
not what my speech is about. It's just, I don't wanna, we'll be done with this council in November, a portion of it. And I don't wanna enter into something that we'll pay for forever and take options away from the voters just because we drew a bad hand.
But
Does that make sense?
it does, I know exactly what you're talking about, but what you gotta understand is this though, okay? You're not taking nothing away from the voters, because the council will be part of that arbitration unit.
If we decide to put them on there.
Yeah, right, and which you would normally, because that's how you would keep the balance, okay?
There are municipalities that use they have a different situation, obviously, because their executive is usually one person, right? So there's usually more than just the representative of the executive present in collective bargaining on behalf of the entity. I'm not saying this is one way or another, right? All I'm saying is, and the question I think I was asked was, is it possible? And I think the answer is yes. So at that point, from a policy decision, it's up to you guys.
so as early on, and I don't know if Zach said or Jerry said, or is that you said we pass an ordinance to accept this contract. Well,
We would pass
You
it
said to create the.
to
bargaining unit.
allow them. to-
okay, well, here's where I go with that. The commissioners passed an ordinance to say that we're the only ones gonna spend the ARPA money. And the council has still negated every time we come to them with money to spend on the ARPA, they say no. So how do we, if we decide, and I'm not saying I am, but if we decide to do that, how do we know they're gonna accept?
Well, that would be part of, and I know it's very confusing, because it's confusing to me, you know what I'm saying? Too, that they're part of your bargaining unit. They're not part of the ARPA bargaining unit. When you guys are deciding what you want to spend the money on, they don't have nobody at the table telling them, saying up to them saying,
but-
with this, they would be,
Only
would
if
say,
we
right.
chose.
to do that, yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
But right now, they're saying, and getting off on a tangent here, but I mean, the point is that they say even today, or not today, but I mean, even present time, the president of that board says, well, if you'll come to, you know, include us and negotiate with us, well, there is no negotiation in the ordinance that says the commissioners have the sole responsibility to spend ARPA money. So technically, they can't get it through their head that it's a pass-through. They just don't understand that. And I just had a meeting with 5 other commissioners from 5 other counties today, and they all sit there and say the same thing, except one county, and that council doesn't want anything to do with anything. And what people don't understand, and I'm gonna preach it till I'm gone, is that most councils only meet 2 times a year. That's for budgets and additional appropriations. Other than that, they don't have a monthly meeting that they have to come in and everybody stand in front of them and you know, ask for money. So they've expanded their authority over the whole state of Indiana, and ours has done it too, but they don't have the authority they think they have, but that's my soapbox. But I understand what Randy's saying, I understand what Greg's saying. I mean, I'd like to see what other, counties have in the same size that we are, so we can see
Let me ask you
what they're
this.
doing, and maybe reach out to those guys and say, hey, is it working for you? Is it not working for you?
Yeah, what's the details in that contract?
Let me ask you that, and that's great, that's excellent, because really, that's really all I can ask for. And I don't want to usurp the authority of the council, nobody wants to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I do too, but I mean, it's,
But you see where I'm coming from, they would be
you
a part of
know,
the
you gotta fight
negotiations.
this thing, is it right for
Problem
me to
is
do
that
that?
it muddies, it could muddy things even worse.
Let me ask you this is what I'll ask then, okay? I'll ask permission to go ahead and look into a collective bargaining unit for the deputies and the jail deputies to Scott County, a study to turn back into you to be able to discuss those things that we spoke about.
I think to
That's
be
not what I
fair,
heard.
I would have, I mean, I would have to have something to reference and look at, I mean.
This vote, if you don't care, just give me that. authority.
Well,
I'll
I
put
mean,
it together.
I'm not saying no,
Right, no.
I just wanna make sure, I gotta think about
I'm
this,
sorry.
cause I wanna make sure what,
Jails in the state of Indiana, county jails that operate with.
Union contracts.
Union contracts
Yeah.
for jailers for.
It's the Teamsters, they're in the Teamsters actually. We would be represented by the FOP more than likely, because it's
I'm
how
sure you
small
would.
we are.
I'm sure you would, yeah, but how many counties?
That's something I can find out. Yeah, and if you don't care to pass, to look into the research, do the research on creating this, I'd be, you know what I'm saying, I'd have that.
I don't.
I'm not
care if
opposed for
research
you to do some research and bring it back, but, you know, I don't know that we need to really vote, other than just tell you, hey, bring back some stuff.
I don't think we could vote tonight.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. just
Well, that's
in
gonna
terms of-
be
Yeah.
public hearings and some other stuff, but.
I'm just trying to level the playing field for my folks, for you folks, for the county. This way, everybody's got an equal say in what happens. And because somebody's mad at somebody, they can't do something just because they're mad at somebody, because we would have the
No, I get
negotiating
that.
arbitration. That's all.
Well, I think it's a shame that it is that way, but I will agree with you that it is that way.
Alright,
Okay. You guys got anything for me?
no, I'll talk about, I wanna talk to you about something else,
Yeah.
but I'll do that in private.
Okay, good deal. If you need anything, holler at me.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Don't bring these 2 goons with you anymore.
Yeah, they told me I need somebody to protect me from whatever reason, I don't know.
Well, you can outrun both of them.
Thank y'all.
See ya. Missy. But you were even hiding back there, I didn't know you were here.
Yeah, I wasn't hiding them.
Kevin was blocking you.
I failed to email you guys a copy of this.
Oh my gosh.
It's nothing bad. So it is an agreement between me and the Department of Revenue. So it is mainly for me to call them, because we get ACHs from the Department of Revenue. So it's for me to call them if there's an issue with one, if the money amount is different from what the bank and then what the report says. So it's for me to call them and get clarification on that. I did ask how many other counties in the state of Indiana has signed that, and they said about 2/3 has already signed it, so I feel that's pretty good.
Is this something new?
Yes, no,
You just sharing information.
What's that?
Yeah.
Okay, real quick.
And I did ask if you guys need to sign it, but there's only one spot for my name on there, but there is a page in the very back and it's for, I think was it designated appointee?
I think so, yeah.
Which I think it needs to be somebody from the auditor's office in case something happens with me or with Jennifer, like maybe, Deandra or somebody like
So this is
that.
the Internal Revenue asking you to do
The
this?
Department of Revenue, yeah,
Department of Revenue.
yeah,
State or?
yeah, state.
Give him a second to.
Okay. I should have when I got
How's
it.
your other stuff going on?
It's good. Everything, yeah, well, yeah. Good as can be.
Any other issues?
Mm-mm,
Yeah,
none,
well, that's good.
yeah.
Well, we have awkward silence, so can you make up something to tell us?
I'd rather not.
I'll make it up anyway.
Is
Anyway,
this just to facilitate the exchange of information
Yes.
between?
anyway, so all you need is our approval for you to sign?
For me to sign it, yeah, just an agreement between me and them, and I would like to add, if Jennifer doesn't wanna do it, like maybe add Deandra's name or something.
Wouldn't be as nice.
What will be in hers? The next 2
Yeah.
days.
But anyway. All right, I'll accept a motion to allow our treasurer to sign an agreement with the Indiana Department of Revenue for, I guess, confidential agreement to pass along information one way or the other, so.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes that motion, Greg.
I'll say,
Greg seconds, and I'll make that unanimous,
All right, thank you.
sign it,
And is it good to also put,
whoever you want.
well, and I do think back here it says,
It probably has to be a backup anyway.
yeah, so in case like something happens to like me, it will go to the next treasurer, so if something happened to her chief deputy, it will go to the next chief deputy.
I think that's
So,
fine.
okay. All right,
Sounds good.
all right,
that
I'll
it?
sign that and email it to him. All right, nope, that's it. That's all I need.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Missy.
Kevin, I don't know how you got third, but pretty good. What you got?
Oh, let's see. The first one.
Where to start?
Where to start? Okay, so the first thing we'll do CCMG bids. Our consultant on the small structures, this is his recommendations. And I also would recommend we take the lowest bid, which was KLB Excavating, for the 5 small structures on the CCMG, which totaled,
914, 513, 75.
that is it. All the paperwork's in order. We just need signatures so we can get his bond and get notice to proceed.
I'll entertain a motion to sign a contract with KLB Construction on 5 small structure replacements for an amount of $914,513.75.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes that motion, Greg.
I'll say,
Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous. So contracting authority,
Yeah. There's, sign it there, and then there's another 2.
all 3 of us,
Yeah.
Can you read that number again?
914,513.75.
Okay, thank you.
I think
but Kevin also had pointed out here, I think it's not only the low bid, but it's also below the engineer's estimate.
it is.
What else you got?
All right, so our next one's gonna be our contracted chip seal, which is gonna be Evergreen. It was the low bid, on that one. That's who I would recommend we use, with the total of
And you said that was for what?
the contracted chip and seal and fog.
Okay.
It's gonna be 13.73 miles. The bid on that was $578,821.15.
578 what? Sorry.
$578,821.15.
15 cents out. All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept, the contract for Evergreen Roadworks LLC for $578,821.15 for chip seal through the community crossing grant.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes that motion, Greg. Greg seconds that. I'll make that.
Set your screen, see if you can drag it down. Andrew put something on here for me, if we get it to work, if we can't, then we'll move on. See what that folder is at the bottom, see if it's the highway department folder.
That's mine.
I printed it just in case it went wrong. I was gonna walk you through a couple of numbers since we're getting ready to do this contracted chip seal, something a little different than the county's experienced before, but, these numbers right here was our 2023-1 and our 2024-1 CCMG numbers. So if you look at, the 2023, that is the asphalt that we contracted last year with Dave O'Meara. So on average, that cost us $11.16 a square yard. And then on average, mile was $108,382.92 a mile, would be what we averaged. Of course, every mile isn't equal because of widths, but that's why I broke it down into square yards. So our CCMG 2024-1 bid came in at $2.57 for a single layer chip seal with fog, which come in roughly $29,337 a mile, $250 a square, or $257 a square yard. Just kind of comparison numbers right there that we had come in. I've been asked this a few times. I thought this was would have been a great comparison. So right now, the county, and we spent a lot of time on this last year, so I feel this is a really good look. Our average pacer rating is 5.8 out of a 10 scale. 10 being brand new, 1 being pretty bad. A 5.8, our pacer rating tells us that anything a 5 to a 6 is where you need to start preservation work before it starts slumping past where it needs structural work. So if you look, our county's sitting on, average of 5.8, so that's 127 miles, and just a good number. Based on the 23 numbers, that's $13,764,630 to catch those miles that we're losing currently. The next page.
Do you have that in your budget?
Yeah, we'd have to dig a little bit. The next one just kind of breaks down. I don't know if anybody actually has a good, or maybe they do, but a good hand on what actually the road surface asset value is worth. So based on our 23 numbers again, and our square yardage in the county on average, it's $36,179,827 is what 2 inches of asphalt will cost you in this county. Substantial amount of money. So that's the reason we're trying to figure out how we're gonna keep moving forward with it.
Kind of like the state.
Yeah, it's a substantial amount of money. The next one kind of gives you a rough idea, and this is what I look at when I turn in for CCMG, the pacer rating. I have to turn in what the pacer rating is for each road section that I turn in. So if you look, you got pacer rating 5 or 6 right there. which if you look at the treatment, you know, it says surface repairs, partial depth and patching, which that's preservation treatments, non-structural, which would be a chip or a fog or something to that effect. The last meeting I was in, somebody mentioned to me that you pave a road and it's good for 30 years, but if you look at this schedule I got over here, it kind of showed you the drop off on asphalt and the repairs that it has. So, you know, in 10 to 12 years, and this all depends on your structural integrity underneath, but you lose over 40% of your asphalt. It starts to drop and then it just falls way downhill from there. So, you know, we're looking at 10 or 12 years at 5 and above, and then it starts falling off from there. That's just a losing battle, really. The next one just kind of breaks down a little bit, just so you can look and see. 2023, we did the 10.1 miles. It kind of breaks down. I think this really isn't getting looked at, and it needs to be. I'll give you an instant. Boatman Road or South Lake, either one, cannot have any more asphalt stacked on top of it. It is to the limit. It's to the line.
Yeah.
So that means next time we don't have a minor mill and fill, we have a major mill and fill, which means more money, which means less miles. So if you break down those 10.1 miles on full retail is what I like to call it, compared to a different plan, you're looking at $2 million difference in there on major mill and fill, just for those 10 miles of the county. You have 307. And this last one here, this just kind of gives you guys a hint, and we have this is a working plan that I have on the computer down below. I talked to my road bosses about it, but this is where we start out, and then we adjust on what comes our way. We come out with a plan or their estimated numbers on what we're gonna pave, and then adjust it out from there. But if you look down, it says available funds on paving. So available funds, when we start out, our money is $400,000. That's not much money when it comes to paving. This year we used $40,000 of that to help subsidize the match money, because we was able to get that extra money that the state come up with at the end of the year, which is a great 40,000 spent. You covered a lot more miles that way. But you know, this is, like I said, it's a work in progress. Basically, we have $68,000 left this year, so we won't be doing a lot of any more road paving. It's going to be, you know, I think we've had 30 road surface work requests come in, which is great. That's what we was looking for. You know, get them in and we'll address them the worst out and kind of go from there. But we'll have a lot of paper patching and hand patching and that kind of work, you know, coming up. So just kind of broke down the numbers there on what we're looking at and the reason we're looking at it.
What people don't understand is, they hear about chip seal and those kind of things, and no, it's not popular, but it's a need, and we preach this all the time.
places to sign it.
We're talking about $36 million, and we have to get into preservation, so, it's apples versus watermelons.
Yeah, you guys are up
And,
there.
you know, we're committed to this. Look, I ran for commissioner on this kind of stuff because I understand it.
This
and
one
I-
doesn't.
I
It'll
know
just
how
be
much
the one
money
96.
this costs. So for the people who just sat back and said, I don't like to ride on that. Well, guess what? I mean, you know, we have to protect this initial investment that we have of $36 million. I mean,
So they won't be going to Madison?
I just, I'm sorry, on my end, I get frustrated with this because this shouldn't even, this is a no-brainer issue.
Well, yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
exactly
you know,
what you
Kevin lays out the numbers, I see the numbers on the state side, Kevin does the numbers on the local side. I mean, that's why these preservation treatments are set in place, to take care of these assets, you know, just.
But to what, you know, kind of piggyback on what you just said, you know, somebody saying, you know, I don't like to ride on that because yeah, drive a motorcycle. Well, you're gonna like to ride on dirt even less or mud.
I mean, you just,
Well, you also could be hitting potholes.
Yeah.
Well,
you can't, just like Kevin made the example, when he's talking about, you know, the next time you go out on some of these roads, then we're going down to the hill.
Yeah, we
And
can't
again,
pay
we don't
that.
have the money to do
so
that kind of work.
I'll kinda jump in on that, Greg. So, we've been pushing to get work requests in and see, you know, what's out there that we're missing or what really needs to be done. And, like I said, we've had at least 20 to 30, you know, road surface repair requests. It's a lot. It's a lot of work, that 20 or 30. So, as you can see, our county was at a 5.8 on the PACER rating right now, 127 miles on it. At 5, all it is water infiltrates the asphalt base and forms potholes, wheel ruts, alligator cracking, and the road falls apart. It's as simple as that. So we can break it down and see 127 miles is on the border in this county, and we can also see it's very important to the citizens that we keep it up. We can't pave every road. The money, it'll never, no way. You can see I'm pretty proud that we was able to put $1 million in these small structures. I mean, I feel like that's a huge step on the direction we need to go, and we're going to be able to do that because we're going to save money on the other end of things. So, just push that direction. I wanted you guys to have that number, just so, because when we get into it, you can see it and reference it.
And it's all about extending life cycles.
It is. Well, if you take those miles we do right there, which is 19 and averaging but 7, I can't do that in my head, but it's a lot of, you know, a lot of years we extend the life cycle and that.
And it's also crack fill, it's also other preservation treatments.
Oh, yeah,
Not
for
just
sure.
crack, chip seal, which is.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I'll bring that up. Mallard Point, we had a contract come in last year and done a liquid road preservation product on it. The product itself failed and lost some aggregate in it, so they're coming back 13, 14, 15 right around that date, and they're going to redo it again.
Is this the same company did Blackstone?
It is, so they're going to come back and do that, but it lost sand in it on this product. New Road was of it, so the company that sold the product covered that, and then that company's going to cover, because they want the product to be good, and they're going to cover the labor, so it won't cost us anything to get it redone. The only, let's see, the transfer station, I was going to kind of, on the extra dumpster, I don't know if you've seen that, but it's a lot of money to get the extra pad and everything in. I was talking to Dwayne, and he has an extra dumpster out there they brought him, and he's been able to move the dumpster that's there out, the Bobcat. They took in the chain to it, picking it up. To my surprise, it pulls it out fine, pulls it up to the top of the hill. So he said, we're good. He's like, that's not that big a deal. It pulls it right up the hill. We both surprised. I did not think it would. I thought it would just get out. So he has an extra one there. He's able to put right back in that place. For now, it's like, that'll work.
That's
right,
good.
you know. Because, like I told him, I said, if you had money to spend here, you probably got other spots if that works. So that's what we agreed on.
Speaking of the transfer station, I mean, I know we had changed that position from a full-time to a part-time a couple of years ago. And Dwayne, is our part-time guy out there right now, actually is getting to that retirement age of 65 to where he needs to not make so much money. So he's asked us commissioners to actually find a part-timer. So, and I think we advertised for that, didn't we already, Jennifer?
I am not aware if we have that one or not.
I know at the last meeting we said to do that, so.
It may not.
Because it's
have
not
happened. We'll
actually,
check on that.
because it's actually not gonna cost the county anything, because Dwayne's taking a day and a half off. We're hiring another person for a day and a half, so the money's not, there's not gonna be an additional cost to the county, it's just gonna be an additional person, so. We can get that advertised so that we can, get him settled on his amount that he can make per year for his social security stuff, so. So if we can do that, that'd be great. Zach, do we have an update at all on the Jefferson County interlocal?
I have provided, the initial drafts that we approved to their council. He's indicated that, and I did explain that in the draft that we approved, we already had some changes that we knew were gonna be necessary, before either party was gonna approve anything as a final. I outlined those to him, and, he did respond to me, I believe, early last week, and basically said that, he's talked to his client, he would review it all and get back to me. And I think that that's the last thing that we've discussed, he and I, but I think we were both on the same page that the things that we needed to change were, relatively minor in the scope of, like, the agreement itself. I think the things we were changing were, in my original, I had one of the counties basically handling like purchasing, public purchasing, post-agreement, and then basically opting into like percentages of ownership of certain equipment. The way I understand it now is that after Kevin spoke with Jefferson County's Highway Department Director, that they already have a piece of equipment, so obviously they own that one. They would most likely be purchasing a lower dollar value piece of equipment, like 200 something thousand, and we would be purchasing, they would purchase that, we would purchase, I think ours was like 450 something.
401, I believe, off the top of my head.
401, and we would specifically own that piece. And both parties, if everything fell apart in the future, would take their property with them. But basically just stating that, I think the agreement was that everything would be housed in Jefferson County, and that, Kevin and the Highway Department Director there would negotiate like times within the work period, to exchange equipment and employees. So he and I discussed those changes basically, in email, and I've not heard anything since then.
Okay. So we're talking about the distributor as being our part?
Chipper, yeah.
I don't see, is there any reason why we can't go ahead and go to council with our chipper, because regardless, I mean, we're gonna enter a contract with Madison or with Jefferson County, but I don't see why we can't go ahead and try to buy our chipper.
I'd like to make sure we're good on the agreement side, just, it sounds like we're pretty close
It
to
sounds
my
like
comments.
we're pretty close, we just need, I need
Specific.
a representative from Jefferson County to say, we're okay with this language, we agree to this change, we want
Give it Bobby.
X.
I mean,
I'll give it Bobby.
And
we're agreeing to purchase it, let me ask you this, we're agreeing to purchase the chipper in our contract with Jefferson County, correct?
we are agreeing to participate in a interlocal agreement that, on the conditions that both parties would bring certain equipment to the agreement.
Right,
I don't think we're agreeing, let me
for
be
the
clear,
chippers
I do not believe,
specifically,
like,
right.
if the question is the county being forced, or are we forcing the fiscal body to, the county fiscal body has to approve the agreement too, I just wanna make that clear. Both county fiscal bodies, so that's just the
So
way
it's kind of
local
getting the cart
agreements
before the
work.
horse. I
Yeah,
guess.
that's why we need the agreement, I think.
Can you get with Bobby over there and kind of push that along and see what they need from us, and so that we can get it all.
Yeah, I
down.
can call and see, where they're standing.
And I'll
Go
call
from there.
the commissioner and talk to him about making sure Well, I think they've already went to their council, and I think they had pretty much a favorable deal, but we just need to iron out the particulars so we can get it all on paper and it's in black and white, so. And then
Yeah, I think I guess if you end up approving the interlocal agreement would be probably when we need to, cause remember all my bids are probably no longer any good, they're over 30 days, so I would have to re-advertise and.
But we're only getting one company bidding the chipper.
And it's probably the only one that's gonna bid again, I guess. They're a pretty major player, so they got the QPAs, so.
Okay.
Um,
Alright.
unless, do we have to bid if a company has the state QPA on the equipment?
So there you go.
You technically wouldn't have to do that, cause they
You
have the
to approve
QPA
like a
already.
separate resolution that deals with alternative methods for public purchasing.
We can do that at the
One
time.
of those is that they offer by contract with the state discounted rates to local subdivisions.
Okay, we'll do that at the time.
So we wouldn't have to re-advertise the bids. That does well.
Alright,
Okay,
thanks,
thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Jeremy?
Oh, Nick.
Hey, see you.
Nice to meet you. You alright?
Yeah,
She's stroking out in front of me.
fingers crossed.
For who?
Everybody involved.
Alright.
Do you want one to look ahead for where you might be involved, or you go?
Sure.
Seems not just for me. Actually, it's this. Do you wanna look at this one? It'll be second to last. This is all that paperwork I sent you. You sent it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll let you look at that.
Gotcha.
Here you go.
Thank you.
All right. May, we had a really good month after we always typically have a really bad April. Huh?
That's not usually a good thing to say. Somebody didn't have a good day.
Yeah, you're right. The service financially had a good month.
That's-
We had 220,000 in revenue. Training's up to 18, paramedics up to 44. It's a year-to-date total. I'm so close, and I tried to milk as much as I could, but I'm $3,000 short of $1 million for the end of May. So we're at 996, 918.
For the year?
Correct.
Day, I see that.
Yes, sir. Current cash ledger balance is at 809. We did 430 runs in May, plus an additional 84 community paramedicine, which brought our total run volume for the month to 514. Any questions about any of that? And then you obviously have your financial stuff that I always provide behind it if you want to see the breakdown. But like I said, every month historically, April's always a slow month, and we usually catch back up in May. So total projection right now for end of the year, we're still too far out, but I put it on there just because I like math. Shows just over 2.3 million is what we should finish with somewhere at the end of the year. If we don't time mark this date. But last year we finished at 2.1, so we're projected to be above. Right now we're projected to have a 9% difference in runs higher. We're projected to be around 5,100 runs. Last year we were at 4,700, and we're looking right now to have a 10% projection on revenue. So that's just all for the financials.
Good for
Other
you, bad for Scott County.
building approval and all of that stuff, just an update on that. We did obtain our building permit. Those are not cheap. We did not account for that in the appropriated money, so we just took that out of our, I thought it'd be like $20 or something. I've never built anything.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not. You add a 0 to that and then multiply it by 2, and that was kind of like the dollar amount. So we just paid that out of our fund. So, but
Appreciate
that's
that.
paid for. We'll probably have to obtain another one, because I think they said they're good for like 30 days, like to start or something. I don't know. Listen.
Should
I'm
be
not
good
running.
till the end of the
But,
project.
Gossman's is projected to start towards the end of this month, beginning of July, is where we're at on that. And then, the Connex boxes have disconnected power. Everything is still in there. I know you and I have kind of briefly talked, we've talked to Brittany and stuff of just, I have to store everything that's in those Connex boxes somewhere for the next 60 days. Just need to know where. I don't have enough space in my building to store all that, and some of it won't fit through the doors. So I just,
Can she do it at the storage facility she has?
you talk to her about the storage building? Is that good?
She said I just need to go talk to Susan, and she was out yesterday and I called her.
Okay. So if not, we might have to take up some space in, if you guys are okay with the John Jones building. If we do that, I need there to be some type of,
Security.
not, yeah, that, or at least, inventory of what's in there, and like, if we could be like, don't pass this line type deal of what it is. All the medical records and stuff we're obviously keeping at the station type deal. But it's just parts, pieces, equipment and stuff.
My suggestion would be to, and I think there's plenty of room in the corner of John Jones in the back, is to put it in a designated area and cover it with a tarp where nobody needs to be looking at it anyway, and, you don't have to draw a line, you say, stay away from the damn tarp, so.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I'm just curious on whether or not there's enough room in the basement of.
That's not
I
gonna
wouldn't.
fit a lot of that, like, if you wanna move it, I will spot you. But I don't think that those like, we've got a lot of like tall like vending machines and stuff that are in there that aren't gonna make that turn and the height. Like, these things are touching the top of the Connex box, and I don't know that there'll be enough clearance.
Just a question.
But I
would
mean,
be-
I'm talking about the sensitive records.
Oh, I got room for those. Those will stay
Okay.
in my building. Yep.
Hey, stuff you have stored in there, I mean, is it usable stuff, stuff you're using?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just like overflow, of the cleaning supplies, like remember the 5-gallon buckets and stuff, like all of those things. There's a lot of still COVID stuff. There's
You're
a,
talking about vending machines.
well, that was the stuff that we've listed for sale.
Oh, you're talking about that one that was setting
The
up.
or the UCAPIT systems that
Yeah.
we've tried to sell. They're still in, I don't wanna eat them, because, you know, as soon as I eat them, somebody's like, hey, you still got those? That'll be my luck, so.
Try on .gov. Alright.
But, you know, a lot of it's just like 5-gallon buckets of hand sanitizer, and we've got totes and boxes upon cases of gowns and stuff, and I don't wanna get rid of it until it expires, because, you know, just waiting for the next pandemic to drop. So it's a lot of that stuff that I don't wanna get rid of, because if I do, it's gonna cost me tens of thousands of dollars to replace.
See what you can get in her storage and waste mine.
Okay, cool. You good on that, for me to move to that part, or?
I'm good with this, but as to the section that deals with the opinion of council, like if they need a specific thing on my letterhead, I'll just need you to send me that. I know you sent me the full,
Just that specific part?
if you just send me that specific part.
Okay. Thank you. We can agree to sign that out of meeting or something, like he can.
Well, it's my signature.
Oh, so you can just sign it and send it. Cool. So next thing is, last meeting we agreed to purchase that ambulance that EMS is willing to pay for. You guys.
Sorry. Let's go back to Connex.
Uh-huh.
Are you ready for them to be moved?
No, I need to move the stuff out, then they can be moved. But it's now that I have for a certain place that everybody's okay with the equipment moving to, I can have that done by next week, and then we'll be ready to move them. Because power is in fact disconnected already. North came out and disconnected and isolated the power that was already there. That was the thing that we couldn't move them before, because they were run together, so now they can be moved.
All right, just call me when you're ready.
Did North have the electric for the new building? Okay. Also, I never asked, but I mean, site work for the new building is, that part of the building or is that part of the concrete guy?
So as soon as we get the Connex boxes moved, concrete guy is gonna come out and make sure that it's fine. Building says as long as it's within like 10 or 12 inches, they're fine, which there's 2 Connex boxes sitting on it now, so it should be fairly flat. I'm not gonna say it's 0 level, but there's not a 12-inch grade from front to rear, so.
But the concrete guy's gonna
Yeah.
do some site work.
Yes, after the building, like he'll level it to where he needs, and then he'll do the concrete after the building's up.
All right.
I was gonna ask though, that, you know, if there is some issues, if Kevin or somebody might be, if we need to be like, hey, we need a scoop off here, if that's something that, okay. All right. I'm sure he's glad I volunteered him for that, but if that was a possibility. Last meeting, we approved the truck purchase you guys signed for us to enter in that agreement. I now have paperwork that is the agreement that I need signed. I don't know if you want to do it after, since there's 20 signatures, or if you're okay doing it now.
You can hand over here while you continue to talk.
I need, or per pink, whatever color this is your signature, and what is blue?
Blue was.
Stuff she didn't know, I think.
Yes, it was asking for a VIN number, we obviously don't have
Yeah.
it yet. There's a spot for the
His-
secretary clerk to sign, which would be Jennifer, and then a spot, I think, where I wasn't sure if that was Zach or not.
It is, it just has to be on his letterhead. It requires blue ink, and I brought you a pen.
We've already approved this, that's
Yeah.
why.
And my piece is just an opinion of council letter as to the authority to enter into the agreement. It just discusses, you know, that you are a governing body with the authority to execute, and that we've gone through the processes to receive all the approvals from any other authorities, which we have, again, put this in front of council twice, two
And
meetings.
just to know that it will have to be
To know
funded
that
for
it- To
budget.
know that it will be funded, they understand that that's, and have approved that, so.
We have done our steps twice.
Go ahead.
The third thing we also talked about last meeting is the purchase of defibrillators and EKG monitors, or the PM contract. I just need to know where you guys kind of stand on that. If we're okay moving with the new equipment. If so, I have some requests that I don't know if I'm capable of making, but I'm gonna ask him anyway, and I'm sure Zach will interject if I'm not capable of making those requests. But I just kind of want, before I waste our time, where we stand before I have the rest of this discussion.
What did we say last time? Cause I thought we talked about last time,
You said get prices and see where we're at, and
but I think we came to the conclusion that it was better to buy new
Okay.
and to move on. Was that
Okay.
not what we both all talked about? Cause we would be able to enter into a service agreement at the same time.
Correct.
So
Okay.
that's-
So with that,
Is that what we thought?
I provided you, I don't know what page it is in yours, but it's probably the 4th or 5th page in your packet, a breakdown of everything that we've looked at. And then I highlighted the two in which I believe are functionally and fiscally best for the service, one before that. That one. So those are the two options that it breaks down. And it's very difficult, obviously, to get anything solidified numbers, so everything you see in the yellow on the right are algorithms that I created that deal with interest and queue times and all of that stuff. So I'm not saying that is to the penny, but it is going to be it's going to be within $1,000 of what that dollar is, just because interest can change, contract dates can change, but that's not me putting into a calculator, that's me creating an algorithm and it populating that number. I guess my question to you is, if you're all on board with entering in some type of purchase agreement, I have to be on this purchase agreement, or someone, whether it be our medical director, which I don't know that I want to put him in that spot, just for that, me or someone at the service needs to be on the contract, not as the sole entity, but additional, because this is a medical device. And unless one of you has medical numbers, you're gonna need someone that does.
I do.
Okay, cool.
I do.
You can be the grantor.
I do have them, but I'm not gonna use them.
Okay, so I guess my question to you is, will you give me the ability to enter into an agreement up to a certain dollar amount or up to a certain payment amount that that dollar amount fits in? Do you trust me enough to make that decision? Not enter in, not sign the contract, but commit to this company, and then me, as long as it's within the parameters of what we've set forth, we can enter into that, I guess is my request. Because right now, there's so many moving parts that when we talk about availability, we talk about, you know, price can change, availability can change, destination dates can change, all of this can change. And I guess my question to you is, do you trust me within the next 2 weeks to make a decision that next meeting I can bring us a contract to enter into? I guess is my request.
This is,
I'd be okay with that.
you're gonna be paying for this out of your budget, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this is your department, and I don't call and
Not
ask
mine,
you,
but I run it.
I don't call and ask you about welders, so I'm gonna let you do what you do.
I mean, obviously, the ones that I've highlighted, just for the people that aren't looking at this, they are the second and third lowest amounts. And the reason that I'm not considering the first lowest amount. The first lowest amount and the second lowest amount are the same monitors. They just have add-ons for peripherals that we would use. So the hardware itself doesn't change. Thank you, sir. The hardware itself doesn't change. As far as the monitor is concerned, it's just peripherals that change that price. So the first and second are essentially the same. And then the third one, I am comfortable going with either of these as far as what they are, advancements of what they are. I do like the other monitor a lot. I can't sit here and comfortably say that we can afford it long term. And we could afford it. We can afford any of these to pay any of these off right now. It's not gonna leave it much money in my bank account, but for your peace of mind, worst case scenario, we have the ability to pay for it all up front, but you're gonna leave me about $200,000 in my bank account. I'm not comfortable with that. But I just wanna make sure long-term that we can continue to advance with and move on with what we need, but still I can be progressive with my wages. I can deal with my fuel issue that I deal with every year of needing an additional appropriation. I can deal with medical supply additional appropriations if we come to it, that I'm not putting us at a net zero at the end of the year.
Which one are you talking about?
Either of the two green ones, sir. That one or that one, yes, sir. And if you notice, month or yearly payment, they're within $8,000, so we're not looking at a huge, it's not like they're $50,000
I think
difference.
I've asked this.
I trust you next week.
I think I've asked this in the past, because I remember a few years ago, and I think it might have been LifePak or one of them, no, it was Phillips or somebody just decided they
End
weren't,
of life, it was Philips MRX, they went end
gonna
of
do it
life.
anymore, and all of a sudden, everybody's having to buy monitors.
That is the situation that, from a support standpoint happens. They continued to make monitors, but they were not those monitors at that time, because when I went to another service, we had those there and we're dealing with the same problem. It was that those monitors were manufactured 15 years prior, not maybe that specific one, but that model. They had moved on to a next one, and they're like, we can't support this model for entirety. It's not like car parts where they're universal, this is specific. So they said, listen, and they gave the services 2 years notice. They said, you have 2 years to start financially planning for this. But after this date, at this time, they're no longer covered by FDA approval, because we're not gonna continue to follow up on that. We're no longer making parts, screen breaks, you're buying a new monitor, and that's what happened.
So in the agreement that we have with these two particulars, and I know we can't always decide who's going to be in business and who's not, but long-term, I mean, we still would be better off in the agreement that we have, because if for some reason they decide one of the monitors is obsolete, are they gonna replace it with one that is not obsolete?
I don't, within the next 7 years, we won't be, I can sit here with certainty and tell you, unless the company itself goes bankrupt, monitor specific wise, we won't be running into that issue.
Okay.
For the simple fact that the top one that is highlighted, was released 2 years ago, and I mean, they release monitors every 10 to 12
So the
years.
interaction with the hospital is, is that still, because I know that was always a thing in the past, was our monitor has to interact with the hospitals that we were going to, so.
Yes, which is going to be another discussion probably for next meeting as well as the council, because a lot of stuff is coming out. From a monitor standpoint, both of these no longer will require a specialized software to interact with the hospital. It is web-based, so they just need access to the internet. Both of these will stream in real time, so we no longer have to worry about transmitting data back and forth. We can call our medical director and be like, hey, we need you to turn on monitor 2 on your computer. They click on monitor 2. They can see everything in real time of our monitor that we are seeing. It's no longer have to worry about, hey, did you get the fax? Because what happens is we send it, it comes through as a fax and it goes somewhere. We don't have to worry about those, phone lines and GPS signal and all the stuff that are in play when we're doing that. So we now will have the ability to see it, or the doctors will have the ability to see in real time, but we will also have the ability to send static images to the hospitals as well. Because, not every hospital is going to take the time to be like, okay, let me stop what I'm doing to walk over and look at this monitor. We can say, hey, we sent you this. We're going to activate the cath lab, whatever the case might be.
Okay.
But that is there. But yeah, the top one was released 2 years ago. The bottom one was not out released. Like they announced it in May, but they won't be shipping until like September. So I mean, they're not doing anything new for the next 10 to 15 years with that.
So I didn't catch the logo. You've got 2 highlighted. Which one are you wanting to?
I'm fine with either. I think it's gonna, for me, the reason I was asking for you to, if you trusted me with the decision to do this, is starting to look at delivery time. One thing that I've started, but I haven't fully explored is peripheral costs of how much cables cost, because we break cables, we cut cables, they get lost, they get broken. It's just to look at long-term expenditures that I can sit here and say, all right, option A might be cheaper now, but if their 12-lead cables are $400 and theirs are $100, I go through 3 of those a year. I mean, I start adding on those costs. I would like some time to do a little bit more peripheral research, but I feel like I need to make a decision prior to next month for the simple fact that we're going to start budgeting, and I want to have a solid figure to work budget off of.
I think you're fine. I don't know anything about them, so.
Okay, so,
Brandon?
No.
You?
Now, when the costs are all
It's
kind of
within reason.
okay, so just for consolidation, you're fine with me committing to one of these and bringing you the contract next week,
Yep.
or next, okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Consensus.
Thank you. Last thing that I need, and then I'll get out of your hair, we work with, also, if you wanna see anything that I've told you, these are the agreements back here. I don't want anything signed, I'm just showing you what it looks like. This is what we would be buying from company A, this is the financial agreement for them, this is what the financial agreement for company B, and this is everything that would be. So if you have questions in the meantime, you're more than welcome to look over it and call me.
This moves us 7 years down the road?
5 to 7, yes, sir.
Okay.
Last thing I need here is that I've attached the back page is an email that I received from our collection company that we use for billing. We use the third-party collection company. They are changing, I don't know what it says. To facilitate this transit, oh, that's too far. To comply with recent legal mandates and expedite case handling, we're making adjustments to our legal process. One significant change involves filing lawsuits in the name of the original creditor, allowing us to navigate court systems more, blah, blah, blah. It's just they need that updated. I guess that's we already are.
It's a power of attorney.
Correct. And they need that signed. I think it's my name because I have to have access to the medical records and stuff. I guess I'd be asking for the ability to sign that.
Is this the resolution from the previous meeting?
No, this is something new that just got sent to me this week.
This is
for our collection company, that they need a power of attorney to proceed with filing collections.
I'll entertain a motion to allow Nick to enter.
Do we do, so do we do that now?
Yes, it's just they're changing the way that, I guess, court proceedings are filed. It's
Okay.
out of my wheelhouse. We already deal with that company.
They wanna know that they have standing to pursue the claim, that they're the real party in interest,
Or third party.
rather than, that they're doing it on our behalf, basically.
I'll entertain a motion to allow Nick to sign the power of attorney for our collection agency.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes that motion, Greg. Greg seconds, I don't make the unanimous.
That's all.
That's it?
Yep.
Good.
Okay, bye.
Where you at on fuel this year?
Oh, I'm about
Just one
I
copy.
mean, compared to last year?
way over. What? Fuel?
How much we have left?
Yeah,
We're down to 35 for the rest of
35,000 for the rest of the year, meaning we've already spent 50, right?
Due to the, amount of runs you're doing.
Run volume definitely is part of it. I mean, when we did budget a year ago, fuel was a different price. But I mean, when we're looking at 10% more runs.
Yeah.
And, I will say I did run a report recently. Average transport distance overall has about doubled. So I mean, that's gonna play into it as well.
So is revenue now.
So it's probably a good thing we didn't enter that contract.
Sir?
Probably a good thing we didn't lock in prices.
I don't know, 'cause what are we paying right now? What did we pay today or yesterday?
Yes, yesterday was a good week.
No, I'm saying per gallon. Do you know what the per gallon price is? I can look and check and revisit it next meeting. I know that it was higher. I know we're fluctuating real bad. I mean, one week we can pay $3.50 and the next $2.75. So I mean, some weeks we're ahead, some weeks we're behind. I'd say we're probably to the good a little bit or net zero at the worst. But like I said, I just feel like that was one of those things that I want to bring forth, see what you guys want to do, but I think we're doing okay. And there's been a few times that I'll notice we're paying $3.80 through them and fuel at the pump is $3.20 and we're filling up at the pump that week till we get a refuel. So,
Right.
we're doing the best we can to combat that cost, but there hasn't been a year here yet that I've not had to go back for an additional appropriation for fuel. And I think which it's not feasible for them to do, but I think until I get a $150,000 or $200,000 line for fuel, just to know that it's there, I'm gonna have to continue to come back.
Well, that's something that fluctuates.
Yep.
All right, thank you,
Yes, sir.
Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, first thing, we got a couple of grant requests. Another one is hey, I had one day to fill this out. The Duke Energy people, called me. We had one day to fill out a grant for, it was $3,140, advance grant. I filled it out on the 29th, and I had an email on the 30th said we got it. So
What's that for?
it's, we're gonna use it for some, scene lights, some search lights, handheld flashlights, things like that to help in any search and rescues. Things like that we might get called for.
So it's no match.
No match, free money
Good deal.
from a private company, so it's not even tax money from anywhere.
So it's 3140 is the
Yep.
number?
The very odd number, but that's what they said we can apply for.
Thanks for jumping on that so quick.
Not a problem. I'm, trying to, as soon as I find out anything, I'm trying to get one. Also have another one, for Norfolk Southern. It's up to $15,000. I just found out about it today. The head of Operation Lifesaver Indiana sent me a message and told me about it, so I really haven't even had a chance to get into it and study it because it goes till October, so it wasn't one of those I had to stop everything I was doing and take a look at, so.
All right, well, we'll wait till, well, looks at that one. Just put them together.
Yeah, what was the now on that one from Norfolk Southern?
It's up to $15,000. So we might look at some generators, or have you guys seen those portable battery boxes, the Jackeries, to where you can get some power if we're out somewhere doing something, or things like that, so. Also, with what Sheriff Gooden mentioned, it is not a CAD system, it is just the jail management software. So it is a part of a CAD system, but it's just the part that runs the jail, shows who's incarcerated, how long they should be incarcerated, release date, things like that.
I've never heard of a CAD system like that. I guess I'm used to manufacturing,
Yeah,
computer aided design.
yeah. So it's just that function. So it's, most CADs today are built in blocks, computer aided dispatches, I should say, are built in blocks, and they've got RMS, JMS, which is the jail management system.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept or I guess, approve the request for these two grant applications, one for, who was the company?
That is.
The 3140.
Duke.
Oh, Duke, okay. Duke Electric, and the other one's for Norfolk Southern. So one's in the amount of $3,140, and it sounds like he's already been awarded that one, and the other one's a no match for us up to $15,000, so I'll just let
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes a motion, Greg.
I'll second.
Greg seconds it, I'll make that unanimous, so.
Okay. All right, and then the next thing I have, evidently in 2019, Scott County EMA was awarded a $20,000 grant to redo their multi-hazard mitigation plan. I guess it got off to a late start for some reason in 2022. And the period of performance, meaning the end date that we have to show that we did what we said we were gonna do in the grant, is coming up in 2 weeks. We have a final rough draft of it.
It's that contract that's coming down.
It's hundreds and hundreds of pages. So I have scan discs. This has the final rough draft. There will be changes made. And then Zach, if you're interested in a copy of our multi-hazard mitigation plan. That was finalized today by our contractor, Christopher Burke Engineering. The next step is to get your guys' approval on it. I've glanced over it. There's a few minor changes. We need to add a couple of locations on there. But that is, we also need you guys to approve it with a resolution. The resolution states there will be changes made, just because that is something that I should be updating constantly until we do any work, based off of our resources and things like that. So it's a living document, but it says on here that it doesn't require any more approval after you approve it now. So this is our next step, and then I have to send it to FEMA, and hopefully they get it approved before the 18th or 19th, which is the end of performance period, and then we get reimbursed all the money we paid for this over the last 2 to 3 years. So, which is right around $20,000. So tomorrow I'll be doing some work down in the POC, cleaning some stuff up. I'm sure if you've been there in the last year or so, you've noticed it's not the tidiest, so we're gonna spend some time cleaning it up, and then I'll spend the rest of my time on the phone with our contractor, finalizing my part of it, figuring out what I've got to do on my end to get FEMA to approve it. So just ask for you guys to approve that with any questions. I do have it with me. I can put it on the board and we can flip through it. But like I said, it is hundreds upon hundreds of pages. Basically our biggest chance for a major disaster here in Scott County has changed. It used to be tornadoes. It's now tornadoes and floods. It is now wildfires and hazardous transportation incidents. So,
How long is the turnaround for FEMA?
the state is pulling in some favors to try to get this done as quick as FEMA can do it. So it's gotta go up to Region 5 in Chicago. It actually doesn't have to go to Washington, so it's not quite as thick in the stuff that it's gotta go into, but they said hopefully it should take less than a week. So I got to talk to a lot of the grants people over the last couple of days for mitigation at the State Department of Homeland Security, so. Zach did approve that, and looked at it. I had to make one change. That was the CAN template from Christopher Burke.
What's the resolution number?
That I didn't have, and I forgot to ask Jennifer for when we were printing that.
Jennifer should have known.
We just do it,
Not this meeting.
we just looked at the one that.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
Yes.
Is that the same thing roughly? I'm not talking about this, I'm talking about,
This?
yeah,
Yes.
okay. And I'll explain that. So, I'll entertain a motion.
12.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the resolution of the Scott County Board of Commissioners adopting the 2024 Scott County Multi-Hazard Migration Plan.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes a motion, Greg.
I'll second.
Greg seconds it, I'll make that unanimous, so 3-0 against. Don't sign it.
They're asking you to print for some reason, so
So what else you got?
that is all I have, so I'll get copies of this stuff for Jennifer, the grant agreements, I'll get her signature on there as well, and her printed name on there as well, and a copy of that, and, I will, also get an updated quote on that CAD system that I had, if Sheriff's Goods is gonna go in with their free jail management system, that'll save us, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of close to $200,000 over a 5-year period on that last CAD software that I was looking at, so,
Okay.
so that'll be good too. So,
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it, Jeremy. All right, next up is the area plan director announcement, so I'll entertain a motion to accept, one of the applicants for, that we introduced for the area plan, so.
I'll make a motion.
I'm sorry, I missed, what was that?
We're talking about
Is there a
the
motion
area,
for a specific person?
and that's what, I'm just asking somebody to give a name.
Just Randy said he'll
Yeah.
make a motion.
Oh, okay, I thought, did I miss something?
I thought you asked for a motion,
I did ask for a motion to,
but I don't know the person.
there you go.
I'll make a
I was
motion,
waiting for it.
and we had interviews, for this position, and, in my opinion, the person that stood out, for me, for the area plan director, was Missy Sadler, so that would be, my nomination.
Greg has nominated Missy Sadler for the position of the area plan director. Randy, you got a comment or a vote?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, that was like my mom went in the hospital and I could not be here, so, I'm gonna trust Cheryl's judgment.
So are you seconding anything?
One second.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that nomination, unanimous, so. So we'll need to contact Missy and then contact the other 3, I think, cause I think, actually 4, I think. Nope, 3, one didn't count.
Okay, I may have to call you tomorrow to see.
It was the last one that
Okay, the last one that was listed?
Yeah,
All right,
they
yeah, okay.
didn't come, so. All right, moving on, visitors, the visitor and economic director announcement, so, had 2 individuals apply for that position. This is a new position, as we, told both candidates. And I will, I guess, put the council on our county council on notice to saying that, you know, we're gonna be sending, a recommendation to increase the funding for the salary of this position, because it was just a visitors board, and now we've got a dual purpose for this position, so. But, I'll entertain a motion to, for a name of a person that you want to, fill that position. Either one of you.
I'd make the nomination to hire Chris Waitman, with his experience and background, he seemed to be, a great choice for us to launch, in both positions. I felt like that, Chris would do a fantastic job for us.
I will second that motion. I think Chris will do an absolutely great job for Scott County, and I think he'll set the bar for future of what that job entails and what it needs to, how it needs to run.
I'll, agree and make that unanimous, so, Jennifer, will you let Chris know,
I'll let Chris know.
since he's sitting in the audience? No, I just wanna say that we had two candidates that had different visions. I will say this, cause I've known Chris for a very long time, and I'll echo what these guys both said. We couldn't have a better champion for Scott County, because ever since his family moved here, he has pushed Scott County, every chance he could possibly do with with his restaurant venture to, some of these other businesses, and I look forward to seeing what he comes up with, and he's very interactive with people, so I think we couldn't have done any. I think we've done ourselves a great service by employing him, so.
Thank you. Set the bar extremely high.
I think you've leaped over it a few times, so.
You'll do great.
But, all right, moving on.
Wait a minute, can I say
Go ahead.
something real
Yep.
quick? I just wanna say, that, the reason I hesitated to say anything is because I wanted to give Greg the honors of, calling you out, Chris, cause, Greg was instrumental in writing up this, this idea of adding the two, jobs together. It was a real piece of work, a good piece of work that helped Scott County, and thanks, Greg, for doing that.
Yep.
And if we could, we need to meet with, or maybe I can meet with the county council, or come to the county council meeting myself. I just wanna be there to talk about the funding mechanism, because we've expanded the scope, beyond the statutory duties for the Visitors Commission Director, so we might need to think about where else. I don't wanna use necessarily Visitors Commission funds for that entire,
Yeah,
needs to be a
that's,
portion.
and that's
correctly.
actually, that's exactly what I was trying to get out, I guess, spit it out about. The funding has to, the Visitors Board is paid by innkeeper's tax, and the economic development side can't be funded by visitors tax, so it has to, that part has to come from, county government, so.
And just to echo, I mean, you guys too were very instrumental early on. We knew we had a need that's been a void for a while, with the county, so, this is a position that I think we all felt like it could obviously help, elevate us in a lot of different areas, so, and again, we got the right guy, Chris, here to move forward with it, so I appreciate you guys' vision.
Yep.
For this position.
All right, moving on, we got, City Hall purchase update. I do know that, on May 8th, we put the city on notice that they had 30 days.
Well, our requested extension for the due diligence period expired on May 8th, but we did go ahead and request that our outside counsel go ahead and notify the city, that we were ready to proceed, so, as for an update, I think it's my understanding that, as of June 8th, barring a requested extension on the city side, that we would be proceeding to a closing within the next 30 to 60 days.
Well, I talked to the mayor today, he didn't bring it up, and I should have, but I did talk to a councilman, 2 days ago, and he said that he hasn't heard anything, either way, so I guess on June the 8th, isn't it, Saturday?
It is.
So, come Monday, I'll be reaching out to someone and finding out if they're ready to sign, so. Questions, comments? Cell phone contract, that's what our attorney has in front of him. There is several years ago.
So I do have a question. So this packet, though, looks like it's just the completed contract, like everything's already done.
Yeah. Actually, they wanted me to sign that one. We signed one before, and here's where it's kind of changed. Several years ago, and I'm gonna say 4 years ago, actually it's probably 5 years ago, Verizon came to a meeting and asked to utilize a space behind the old John Jones building to put up a cell tower, and we agreed with them. Since then, they've had to go through some federal, FCC stuff. And actually Jennifer come on and I was like, hey, did we ever find out anything about that? So we ended up reaching back out to Preston Patton, which is the guy that's in between Verizon and us. And he has stated to me that, hey, guess what? Verizon kind of got muddled down on some other stuff, and they're giving this tower off to a third party that builds towers and then leases them to Verizon. Actually, so that's why the contract had to be changed, because it interchanged a different company's name instead of Verizon. Verizon will be the sole cell phone provider on that tower. We still have options to utilize any antennas that the county would want to put on there free of charge. The one thing I didn't see in there and I didn't pay attention is is there any funding that they're going to pay to us for the
I did not see anything that had anything relative to funding.
It's just a lease.
Correct. It was a,
And I think that's what we agreed to anyway, that they were gonna provide a service.
where everybody agreed that,
I will say this, while he's looking at that, is that, they have I talked to him today, he called me this afternoon, and, they have everything ready to go. There is a form that I have to print off, an email he sent me, and I have to have it notarized. Is there a notary in the building?
No, I don't know if there is one in our building, but there is a City Hall and a bank.
I'm sorry. Actually, can you read subsection 4A?
So anyway, they've been through the process of the City Hall and the city's area plan to get everything going on. And what they're going to do is, they said they would start construction in September, so. And, so what section did you say?
4A.
4? Yeah. All right, rental payments shall begin at the commencement date and to be due at the total of an annual rental of $8,400 to be paid in equal monthly installments on the first day of the month in advance to the leaser. So we will be getting $8,400 a year for it.
That's the lease. There's a separate licensing agreement that does not have a payment piece.
Yeah. So anyway, that's back to him. So anyway, I guess I'm just gonna ask for permission again, because this was signed some years ago, but I'm gonna ask for permission to go ahead and sign that contract tonight, so I can send that back to, the company in question here, so.
I make a motion to allow you to sign that.
Randy makes a motion, Greg.
I'll second.
Craig seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, and I'll go ahead and sign it and get it sent back to him. Scott County Property Abatement Hearings, Lever Lane and Big Ox Road. Where we at?
So it has been more than 60 days, since the original abatement orders went out for those two properties. And the statute, specifically provides that we must give at least 30 days, but less than 60 days or up to 60 days for the landowners to have the opportunity to attempt to abate any of the issues that we've identified. The health department has kept track of whether or not there's been any remediation or abatement of unsafe buildings, and they have sent a notification to you guys today indicating that on both properties, they've not seen any progress or any steps towards any progress relative to cleanup. So, and Jennifer, I sent you,
Right here.
so I have drafted out 2 separate, you need to fill in the cause numbers that would be consistent with the previous orders that went out.
Okay.
A separate piece, there's another provision in statute that says if you're under an abatement order and you don't comply, that we can do certain things at that point. But at this point, I think the remedies that we are discussing are removal or demolition of structures on private property. We are required to hold a hearing. Before we can do that, we must state the date, time, and place of the hearing in the notices that are included in there. So there's places in there for once you all decide which date, which time, and where you want to hold the hearings. The landowner has the right to appear with or without counsel, see, hear, question, cross-examine witnesses, and object to any evidence or offer evidence themselves. And I would suggest that, because the statute says that we must pick a day that gives them sufficient notice, that we pick a date that is 45 days out or around that time for the hearing date. We have had difficulty with
Big Ox.
I believe it's the Big Ox Road property, and determining, we know who the record landowner is, but actually, I guess it's my understanding that the record landowner is deceased. So I don't know what is going on, but I think we need to send an additional notice to the actual landowner of that property, and then we also need to run a service by publication summons to appear on that date, to hopefully notify any potentially interested parties of your duty to show up on that day. And again, in this situation, you guys are acting in a quasi legislative and judicial role in making determinations. That will be an evidentiary hearing. We will take testimony under oath and make final decisions. If ultimately you determine to proceed with further abatement action, you can order things like third-party contractors to come in and clean up the property, and then placing liens on the property for the amounts that were required for the cleanup costs.
This person here, they tried to contact me today, and I talked to them, and they wanted to know if they was on the agenda for the night, and they wanted to come in and talk to us. Which at the time I looked at our agenda and it didn't.
Is that on top of that? Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, it wasn't on
Which
there.
one was it?
That one there. And it wasn't on there, so I told them it wasn't tonight, that we will be discussing that.
Then they can come to the hearings. I mean, we are not gonna take any action until, yeah, I think I've recommended to you guys on multiple occasions that I know that there's people in the public that don't necessarily always understand the processes and why it is so difficult seemingly to address potentially public nuisance and or unsafe building issues. But I want everybody to understand, we are talking about government entering onto private land and removing or destroying structures. It should not be an easy process for the government to do that. So,
Well, that particular person has contacted me and I've talked to him a few times. You know,
They did have a trailer out, they moved the trailer out,
they had a camper,
or camper, yeah, that's why I'm sorry.
but the
Travel trailer camper as well.
trailer's still there, but.
they moved,
There was a camper that was on it, they moved it out, it's gone.
There's an old house, there's an old building, there was a camper, and that's where the original complaint came in, is that someone was living in or in the camper, and there was no septic. and the
okay, so
neighbor
now
was-
it seems to indicate that there's someone, they think there's someone living inside of the trailer, it's not the camper.
Well, the,
I was told in the beginning, nobody was living
Yeah,
there.
that's what I've been told
And then, cause I've been on that
I
property a
mean, that
couple
by
of
itself,
times,
I mean, that's a
but the
it's a
trailer
zoning issue
seems,
by itself, but.
so anyway.
well, I mean, I
we'll
was
go-
being told that the camper was gone, and so was the person that was living there.
But now there's new people living in the
No.
trailer?
Nobody's living there.
Well, and if that's the case, I mean, you know, we can address the fact that they actually have done, but based on this letter sent on June 4th, the only thing that I know is that it appears that nothing has been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have hearings and I've been through 3 of these before, so we'll have a hearing and they can show up and say whatever they want.
And I
And
implore
we'll come to
them
the
to do
decision
that.
of, hey, and actually in the last 2 2 of those 3, the person that was in question, one of them sold the property to a neighbor and they cleaned it up. The other one said, we'll clean it up and
And
I
we
think,
gave them an opportunity
Yeah.
and time
and they did.
to do those things, so.
So it's an avenue for them to, do the right thing and quite honestly, the other part of that is, and I know one neighbor was, on the Lover's Lane, came in here and was mad and didn't, we had to follow our process and it's not always Scott County government's process, it's state law of saying, you have to do this with the state health department, or with the county health department, then they have to file something, it has to go so many days, then we can do our part, and that's where we're at. It's not as government moves, it's pretty slow, so.
And I mean, again, I know it's frustrating for the people that live in the area or have to,
But it's,
but it should not be if the government could just enter on your land and destroy things, that would be a bad thing. I
That's
think we all
100%.
agree on that, so.
yeah, well, I think we're all in agreement that a landowner ought to have 99% of the, whatever they wanna do, but, the 1% is, you can't do certain things, so.
So do we need to schedule this meeting tonight?
I would pick a date for the meeting, pick a time, pick a location.
So 45 hours.
When you all do that, I will sign the letters. The notices actually don't do anything, they don't make any findings aside from setting the hearing, if you read the last page. So on both of them, if you want to set the hearing, you would need to vote to approve the hearing dates and everything. And there's a signature page and an attest page for you guys and Jennifer.
45 days, and I'm given, starting next week, is July the 23rd, so.
That's what I was gonna ask you, actually. Well, I was 24th, but yeah.
So I was given, starting next week, starting on the 9th. So that, I guess we can have anything, the 45 day would be July the 23rd, which is a Tuesday night, so. So what's your guys' pleasure?
We scheduled it here for 45 days,
That's
July 3rd,
July 23rd.
23rd, I mean, sorry.
Alright,
July 23rd.
July 23rd, it's Tuesday night.
Are you good with?
Right now,
Right now, I don't know where I'm gonna be on the 23rd.
I think that I'm okay.
So, alright, let's mark them on the 23rd.
We'll do that 5 o'clock or
5 o'clock's fine.
Here, you wanna hear?
Yes. I don't see a big crowd. Last time I did it, one of them was in jail.
that's correct.
Alright, moving along, change the meeting date for June the 19th. To June the 20th, and I've kinda asked for this, there is a commissioners, Association of County Commissioners, function, I guess I should say, meeting on the 19th of June, every year that they've had this, it always falls on our meeting night. So I'm gonna request that we move the meeting to the 20th, which is a Thursday on that day instead of the Wednesday, so. Anybody got any comments, questions, or approval?
So we're gonna move it to Thursday.
That's what I'm asking, yeah.
It actually works better for me. I was probably gonna have to, I would be running late probably on the 19th.
So, Randy, you comment, questions?
I'm sorry, I'm looking, that's good. I'm open,
Huh?
I'm open.
Alright, I'll entertain a motion to move the meeting to June the 20th instead of the 19th.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes a motion to move the meeting, Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds that, I'll make that unanimous, so can we post that on every place that it needs to be? Consideration of the regulars, claims and any special claims. And I'm gonna say that now, did, Mandy's father pass away?
Yeah, he did. The funeral was Friday,
I didn't know that.
so she was out, and that's why these are a little bit later than normal, but that's why she didn't get back till Monday.
Okay, I didn't know anything
She's had a
happened.
rough, yeah. But she wanted me to tell, Nick and Caleb that when the event happened, that they were very, very good to her. And she wanted to thank you for that.
I'm sorry to hear that, I didn't know that until she sent that email to us.
Yeah.
So there's no special ones, just the regular?
No, I don't believe so. I think
Alright.
that's,
I know that,
if there is, I'll miss it too.
I know that Mandy sent these today, so I'll
Yeah.
entertain a motion to pay the claims.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes the motion, Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. Also, consideration of the payroll for, 2 pay cycles, May the 17th, 2024, and May the 31st of 2024, so.
I'll make,
We had an opportunity.
Yeah.
I'll accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to pay payroll.
Randy's made a motion to pay the payroll for May the 17th and also May the 31st, so do we have that? Yes,
I'll second that.
Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. Last thing is, consideration of the minutes. I know we had them emailed.
They were emailed earlier today. I thought I sent them last night, but they were not.
I read it.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Randy's made the motion. Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds, and I'll make that unanimous. So does anybody else have anything they wanna bring up? Greg?
You said June 20th, right?
Yes. Nothing? Randy?
No,
Well, I got one thing anyway. Mayor called me today, I guess the Mayberry Days are gonna be towards the end of this month.
22nd, 23rd, I think. That's
Yeah,
Saturday and Sunday,
21st
or 20,
and 23rd.
oh, okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And just was wanting to know if we need any assistance with, you know, courtyard maintenance or, you know, making sure everything was cleaned up, you know, straightened up, whatever. So if you guys see something that we can't get our, you know, county employees to do, whether it's the highway department or our maintenance guy, then we need to, we can reach out to him possibly and they would assist, so. And I think, I mean, I think we did a lot of painting the last time,
We
so.
did. Or you didn't think it, we did it.
Yeah,
You guys did.
so, I think it's still looking, those things are still looking pretty good. I would like to make sure that we, stay up on our mowing and, you know.
Yeah, on that note, we should probably agree to have, Eric mow probably 2 or 3 times, right before. So we don't have a bunch of dead grass laying
Yeah,
everywhere,
well-
and
Yeah, if you mow it correctly, you don't have that,
I think we need to say something.
yeah.
Okay.
Cause I was kinda embarrassed, I guess, during the Austin and Scottsburg proms, cause, the grass is pretty high, and I guess I was out here with one of my grandkids, and I was like, well, so I came and mowed it, but yeah, we need to make sure when we know those events are gonna happen that, you know, we're not mowing it 5 days before the event, and then it's, you know, not looking very good, so.
Something else, while we're on that subject, also I'd like we need to probably have Eric take and these stones are very touchy, so you can either use, Windex, or you can use Simple Green, but either way, and probably we need to use Simple Green, but we need to have them scrub the monuments out there, the ones that are, down on the ground. The big monument that's laying down for you to stand over and read, that needs to be scrubbed up with Simple Green. Anything else will hurt the stone. The stones are sensitive.
I'm gonna make a suggestion that, and I don't know what the cost would be, but, I don't want to screw something up, so I would almost entertain asking somebody to bid it that does those type of things, because Mr. English out here, since I've been a commissioner, we have debated how to clean him, and he's been cleaned several years ago when I actually reached out to Jan Watterson, because Watterson Monument actually cleaned it and then sealed it with, I'm gonna say, like, what do I wanna say, like lacquer or, you know, something that sealed it, but that's bronze, and you don't just put certain things on there, because
Yeah.
I've talked to people and they said, well, just use Dawn dishwater detergent and it won't cut it. So I think we probably need to look into somebody that does that professionally, that if they screw it up, they're gonna pay for it, so.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea to do this.
But
Maybe just wrap them both up in together.
I'd like to see that, cause that Captain English needs to be cleaned up a little bit. He is so tarnished that the grain is running down on the concrete and it's actually staining it, so. So I'd like to see us reach out to some people that do that type of work, try to get a quote, and you're right, I mean, I wanna change the lights out on, the base of those monuments out there, cause they're like floodlights. We need to get some LEDs that are a little brighter and some other stuff, so.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's one thing. The other thing is the one tree that we haven't cut down yet, still needs to be, cut down. So I don't,
That's open my equipment.
huh?
That's open my equipment.
I know, but I had a guy that cut some trees for me, but he's changed his number and, but I don't care about that. We just need to contract that too. We have a maintenance budget. We just need to have somebody come in, cut it, get it out, get it cleaned up and get it, maybe possibly another tree planted, so. And also, I will say this, cause we talked about it last fall and I just never thought of it, is that, Kelly Robbins' wife and family has donated a tree or so for us to plant in the courtyard. But, you know, last year when they talked about it, it wasn't the prime time to be going out and picking out a tree and having it planted. So we probably need to just, determine what kind of tree we want. And me personally, I know there's a lot of oaks and poplars and everything else out there. I'd like to kind of see us, have something with something that flowers a little bit, something that's got some color to it, whether it's, you know, something with a red bud or red leaf maple or, you know, something that doesn't drop seedlings on the ground and makes a mess. But something that, you know, creates some color for the courthouse.
I agree.
So anyway, Mr. Attorney, do you have anything? Jennifer?
I don't think so.
Nick, you sure you don't have anything else? Alright, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes a motion, Greg.
I'll second.
Greg seconds it, I'll make it unanimous, so.